Quick access inventory updated.
Regale me.
Varley. Who's asking?
Limes and excursions! Oh.
Yeah, I know them. When Gran had me hospitalized. Institutionalized. Amity House smelt like dead fridges. Ozone, no plants, no windows, no mirrors. So many pills, all the colors of a fake rainbow. They told me they would make the voices stop. Make my episodes stop. And they were right. I never heard Gaia's voice all the time I was in there. But it was all fun and games when the restraints came off. They would hook me up to a machine, take my finger to a button, show me photos, surveys, maps, symbols. I tried everything. Pressing it all the time, or not at all. When I was really doped up, I'd tap out the beat to love songs. One day they just threw me out into the greasy rain. Didn't care who I told. They knew no one would believe me. God, I couldn't believe it. Even the bad guys didn't want me. I was the wrong kind of freak.
There.
This isn't because I'm upset. I'm angry.
I am but an errant foolish knight, my sword hand pierced upon the thorns of courtly love. Truly, I have courted all, as if romance is my questing beast. So many maidens, draped in mysterious heraldry, the houses of Dolce, Gabbana, Dior, Gucci. I returned to London Wick 6 years past, though it seems I have lost centuries in a pleasurable fugue. This age is so strange, and yet. The May Queen still assumes a new form each year, as do those mistresses hitherto unknown to me. Miss June, Miss July, and so forth. I have kept extensive records of their illustrated literature. Oh, the one true king thought I gave myself too fully to chivalric pursuits. But to woo is as much my life's work as to defend his realm. And I weep at where his chasteness left him, slumbering forever in Avalon, alone, where once his marital bed was most accommodating. My charge as Knight of the Round is to safeguard this grove from the coming darkness. For lo, ages past, the Grail Cup was brought here, aflame with golden nectar supped from Gaia's fertile bosom.
Sometimes you take tree-hugging to a new and creepy place, John.
Yet you too feel the pull of magic. Passionate, even sensual to this ancient oak. That is why light and life have thrived in its great shade, blossomed, become ripe, heavy in fruit. 'Tis too much.
'Tis way, way too much.
When first I arrived, the Templars challenged my right, claiming this park was theirs alone to ward. Also that my dalliances with those ravishing twin sisters was improprietous. In both affairs, their understanding of the pursuit of beauty is so sadly wanting. Mark my speech. This is nothing less than the city's most sacred place. Only a lover could defend it. Indeed, 'tis a storied cast of players who inhabit these Eldwick grounds. Fairy Ken, knights true, mighty sorcerers. Perhaps the ages have not changed so much. And the temptresses. Such temptresses of every hue, every color of dress. Many times over have I been advised to keep to my own affairs. At least many other times I recall the term affair being brandished. Thus it was with great cautiousness of judgment that I took in the fair Callie of the tartans. Yet a knight without a squire is as a lance that thrusts untrue. And none could ask for a squire more fiery or independent than she. Fervent were her virtuous rejections, and I have responded twofold, sixfold, a scorefold with renewed oaths of eternal fealty. Would that I recall the words once she spake. Ah, yes, yes. John, your sword is not going anywhere near my stone. Ah, such japery. I harbored such hope that Templars and I would share in the bonds of chivalrous kinship, our nights enlivened by the camaraderie between young minds, the vigorous debate of cardinal virtues. Alas, I have been expelled from their halls again and again, even as I protested the profundity, the genuineness of my feelings on this matter.
There are kind of laws against the way you profoundly and genuinely feel things.
I suffered them to cast doubt upon my honor and knightly lineage.
I had to suffer them casting you into the street without your clothes. That was an eyeful.
I had partaken of the pool. I could not fault their zealotry, yet their humility leaves much to be desired. 'Tis not a knight's place to impose his order upon the world. For whom do Templars rule? Themselves, or the people of the land? Verily, I would pine for the counsel of my lost brothers in forgotten Camelot, were there not so many distractions. Beautiful, beautiful distractions. Ah, le monde invisible. A stranger creature never did I encounter in all my travails. 'Tis a darkened veil, drawn down between us and the lives of good common menfolk and women. Who celebrates the May Rain? How different the stories told around the glow of television, if any tell at all. I am rebuked by Templars and others. Should I recount my deeds to a passing maiden by way of courtship? Even said maiden regards me with sly incredulity and speaks, "You don't have to look funny, John, just buy me a drink."
I found him out at the tower blocks once, asking them to let down their cornrows.
And yet, when children give me audience, I am reassured that they still dream of being comely princesses, bold knights, players of ball games. Fair Callie, is this not the real life? Am I just a fantasy?
Art thou caught in a landslide?
Ha! You jest. But I think it be the jest of love. Excalibur. The singer, the opener, the ender. You should know the one true king wielded it like a sunrise. And lo, every face in the land was upturned to it, living and dead. 'Twas Gaia herself who proffered the blade to him, in one story from a pool of golden honey, in another from a well of blackest night. Merlin told me both. I know not which was more true. He was touched in the head, mayhaps driven so for the jealousy of Morgana's thighs. Yet that is another tale. One I fear I could not recount in the detail its ravishing subject deserved.
Never mind the psycho redhead. What happened to the sword?
Like that flamed-haired sorceress, it passed on, dreamlike. It came upon us to unlock the mysteries of the world, and then it disappeared. back among them. Never did I set eyes on it again. The ghosts of Avalon still repeat its song. Splendid orchards, fairy
Let's make a deal,
tales,
yeah?
a
You and me,
silent
no
convent from
patronising.
whence I left in a
I
manner
get the
of
feeling we're
censorship.
in the same boat, so fair's fair. You've got that look. Yeah, that one. Like you've seen the end of the galaxy. And I've grown up pretty fast since I learned I could start fires with my head. Bang goes the ballet school dream. Bang goes the ballet school. Try explaining that one to your parents, or to the police. So I ran away from home and ended up here. It's really put teen angst in perspective. Back then I used to worry about fitting in. Now I worry about people disappearing and never knowing if they've skipped town or were pulled through a shadow. Or if they switched sides. However many sides there are. Or if they'll try to have me sectioned under the Mental Health Act of 1983. So much for Gran always being my shoulder to cry on. I am so not a city girl. I grew up near the Yorkshire Moors, where you can just walk away from town and be in the old hills, in the smell of summer heather, the crackle of burnt cut grass. Everything is magic still. My report cards were always, Callista needs to concentrate harder. But I was concentrating, just maybe not so much on maths or physics. That wasn't real to me. You couldn't live in a place like that and not believe all the legends. Well, I couldn't. After my accidents, I don't even remember how I made it to London, or found my way to Eldwick. In the shadow of this great tree, it's like being back in my countryside again. Mr. Rosenbaum took me in at the hotel, gave me a room just like my old one. I prefer to sleep in the park. The stars are as clear as crystal here. You can see the beginning of the universe. Okay, so John's a bit of a lech. He keeps his hands to himself, though, more than my old classmates would have managed. They'd think courtly love was something that goes on behind the gym. John's a gentleman, a proper knight. Or he thinks he's one, and that's good enough for me. I learned to read from Arthurian literature, always hoping a knight would come questing past my window astride a white charger. What? Like I said, it was tough for me to fit in. You don't find my idea of romance on Hollyoaks. Their loss. Anyway, I look after John, like a good squire should. It would be a bigger deal if he had a real horse, or an actual sword, or if the enemies of the glade he's always talking about ever showed up. Mostly, I just hold his hair out of his face when he's had too many ciders. Oh, short answer. This is just awesome. All my life, I believed, I knew the world was a strange and magical place. And it really is. Getting pushed down the rabbit hole, not so great. I didn't try to be a pyromaniac, it just happened. Over and over. I didn't ask to hear Gaia's voice in the buzzing of the bees to learn the things she said there. And I'm homesick. I miss my mum and Dad. I hate writing them guilty postcards with no return address, telling them that I'm really okay, that I'm alive and not on drugs or selling myself. I hate thinking they're disappointed in me. They thought I'd be a painter, maybe, or a dancer. Not a wizard. Wizardess. Sorceress. It's like having the most vivid dream, but still remembering how it felt to be awake. How normal. Only you can't wake up. I haven't signed up yet. I don't want to rush into it, and it's not like I'm an automatic Templar. Templars? Templar. Just because I'm here doesn't mean that they get to say Bagsy. There's still so much I have to learn about magic. Where it came from, how to control it. Retardant foam is a nightmare to get out of your hair. I'm keeping my options open, listening and watching. Illuminati guys used to come to the Horned God all the time, trying to tip and complaining about warm beer. Not as much now, since they decided to rewind 400 years of peace and start penetrating each other. With bullets. Bullets! But I guess I'm Templar's material when it comes down to it. I'm just not sure if they believe in the chivalry I do. If it's just a uniform to them, and not the heart beneath it. I love the whole knightly ideal. I want to get Beardsley Sir Bedivere tattooed on my... Whoa! Shut up, Callie. Has anyone told you you're a really good listener? Even before the fainting spells started... Wow, spells. That's a good one. Even before those, back when I was halfway to normal, I would hear voices. Just one voice, really, but in different places. In the rustling of the corn, the waves on the coast, the wind off the moors. It was gentle and soothing, even if I didn't understand the words. Like when I was little, my mum singing me nursery rhymes in the old cottage. Oh yeah, we were a total bunch of hippies. John told me it was Gaia, this great, mythical, beautiful woman. Although, of course, everything in John's world is a beautiful woman, right? God, I'll never look at lilies the same way again. But Gaia, she's not cross with us, not even disappointed, which kind of makes it worse. She picked us out for a reason, but won't tell us what it is. How does her garden grow?
New regulations, no dancing Widdishin.
Never say we don't keep you on your toes. An opportunity has opened for us in Romania, Transylvania to be exact, so you can guess the thrust of it. Once the stomping grounds of the Wallachian prince Vlad Dracula. His knightly order was loosely, very loosely, affiliated with ours. Certainly, he had the right ideas. His methods, however, were as extreme as the stories suggest. I hazard that the man was demented in the end. Whatever that end was, the creatures that bear his myth, vampires, outlived him and have been throttling the life from the country ever since. Now, an army of the beasts have gathered in the Carpathian foothills, an army unafraid of sun, of discovery, of the fact that their medieval reenactment is 500 years out of date. We have been sanctioned by the council to destroy them. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. We expect to be sanctioned by the time it's over with. One more detail. The Orochi group has a project in the mountains from which we understand there has been a distress call. I think it would be an act of chivalry to give it our full attention, don't you? Happy hunting. And pass my warmest regards on to Carmen.
Ho there.
You're a long way from home, and not quite dressed for the occasion. Your superiors, they did explain it is cold in the Carpathians, huh? No matter. First we deal with the vampires, then the frostbite. Do not presume you know what to expect from vampires, from your movies, your games. The reality is dirtier. There is no superstition in my homeland, only reality. We grow up knowing to fear the night. Now the night fears me. Strange how life turns out. This valley was a refuge for all creatures. The forbidden, the lost, the forgotten. Such things whispered of in my grandmother's time. Today, it is a battlefield. I wonder, who would upset such a sanctuary? It is a very convenient crisis, if something needed to be buried out here, or unearthed. But the Council does not ask me to think, only to rally the troops. You see, the air is thick with stories on smoke. You should follow both to their sources. We make a big deal of folk tales. One brought me love. It's a sweet story, you know. Another blinded my eye. Not so sweet. Let's see what fortune they have for us now.
Hello, please take a seat. Can I get you something to drink? Go on, take a seat.
I do believe our guests receive their sustenance from more arcane waters, Lady Sophie.
Don't mean they don't drink ale, do it? It's on the house for as long as it lasts. Please forgive Mr. Staghead. He's not in the best of moods, poor thing. Having lost home and hearth.
Home, hearth, my kingdom, the forest. All of it succumbed to parasites. To filth. Our world is coming apart at the seams. The end is folding in on us.
No more drink for you, sweet. You only get melancholy, and we don't need that now. Not when you're about to help me with the ad.
Her skin radiant, pure and white as winter's dawn over Arcadia lost. She is Eve, born of the earth, not of man. Plump as a ripe apple, fruitful and fertile.
Plump? Fertile? Oh, thanks very much. That'll just scare men off, sweet. He's trying. It's a distraction for him. For me too, in lieu of better and brighter days. I'd like to get out someday. Even if I could leave right now, I wouldn't. He's kind. They need us. To believe. To remember. To fight. This is all they have. These fields and forests and mountains. They've nowhere else to go. The world out there is not for them.
Here will soon be no more. My people are abandoning our sacred lands, leaving only the dead to go to earth and the disease to spread. The power of the forest is on the wane, and a shadow falls over us all.
This has always been a special place. A place of strong magic. I've run with fairies since I could run. The forest people protected us as long as we left their lands alone. It was the law. The Strigoi, the bloodsuckers, they don't respect the law.
There is a dark and infinitely malevolent force behind this siege. It is a ruse concealing some fearful machinery restarted. It brings forth memories of dark times befalling us countless seasons ago, and and of those who rose up against the endless night. The dragon, the eagle, the owl.
Oh, I've heard this story also from my mom. She used to sing a beautiful song. La 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 la. Rum. I'm afraid I wouldn't know how to sing it in English. On karaoke night, I just listen. Everyone's okay with that.
The forces of darkness are stronger than ever, and those who stand against them are weakened by centuries and forgetfulness, bitterness and the embrace of the grave. No matter how many of you there are, with your modern magic and your steel weapons, you cannot defeat this evil. Not without their help.
The owl, the eagle, and the dragon? The dragons died a long time ago. Eagles, there are plenty of up in the mountains, but none here. Owls, though, I've seen owls. There's one in particular I see often in the village. He hoots at me. I think it's a friendly owl. So, what do you have so far? Her bosom soft as... Oh, sweet. There's just no way I'm filling your mug again.
Travel safely.
Additional assignment received. Initializing.
Lilith's children are rising. You've been following me? Why is that, eh? Never mind, I know why you're here. You know anything about these pewters? It's not doing what I need it to do. Even a wrinkled apple can be fresh on the inside. When I was born, we had miracle machines that make this look like a Stone Age tool. And they were a damn sight easier to use, too. No, just leave it. I'll figure it out eventually. And you've more important matters to attend to. Yes, I am the owl you're looking for. But I'm afraid I don't have much in the way of answers. I'm going to tell you the same thing I've told the others. This has all happened before. Oh, yes. Vlad was the one who defeated Mara, the vampire queen. Can't tell you how, because he's been dead for half a millennium. And he neglected to tell me. But he did leave me something of his. I reckon he left a part of himself behind before he passed on, and I also reckon you'll be needing his help to take care of Mara. I never could make much sense of the man. But then he is human. And I'm not. He left it for someone like you. Someone who could stand up to her. I've held on to it for 500 years. I have a long memory. That thing isn't all Vlad left. He left behind a legacy, his own little army. The Draculesti have suffered much in the 5 centuries since his death, but they are still around. In fact, they have recently come back. I've seen them in the forest. That lovely girl who uses her looking glass to spy on the vampires, and the strapping circus boy. But the one you really need to speak with is Milosh, their king. He came to pay his respects when the Draculesti arrived. I liked that. Though he did speak too much and too loudly. Not a trait you share with him, I'm happy to say. If anyone knows what Vlad Dracula had prepared for Mara's inevitable rebirth, it'd be the Draculesti. The news of her return are disturbing. They herald something dark. There is great power in these mountains, and Mara seeks it. It was never simply what's on the surface with her. And I believe this vampire crusade is more of a vampire charade. But that's neither here nor there. First, you should put your mind to that thing. Someone needs to. Now, shoo! I'm going to see if I can't get this pewter to do what I want it to do. Take it.
Additional assignment received. Initializing.
I took this spot first. My story? It should be like this. I am Romany. I hunt monsters. I wish that was all there was to say. I did not want to become like this. A witch. But you are an outsider. You cannot understand. Just as I cannot be like you. The bright tunnels beneath the earth, I have seen them. In the cities, the show-offs in their uniforms, I have seen them. Your people call themselves heroes, but for generations my people have died unknown in the mud, fighting the terrors of the night. For the longest time we were slaves in this country. Slaves, even if we kept the beasts from the doors of those who abused us. We do not ask for recognition. We answer only to ourselves, and that makes us strong. We know who we are. Or, well, I did know. Until magic changed me. I think you understand that story. To come to this valley, it is like a holy pilgrimage for my clan, for the Draconists. Milosh, he says this place is our homeland, but he was born on the roads, just like all of us. He means that our order began here. The Order of Dracula, the dragon. And they call him Strigoi now, a vampire. They do not know anything about history, about the secrets we have sworn to protect. Dracula hated all creatures of the shadows. He fought them. He died to protect us all. It makes me sad that the valley where Dracula made his stand against them has become their secret refuge. Here, the creatures live as if no time has moved on. As if wild animals still walk city streets and people huddle around fires muttering prayers. The villagers accept it. They shrug their shoulders and say the night has teeth. The old forest is no place for men. Or women. You see what has happened? Monsters cannot exist alongside us. There will only be peace. Our duty will only be finished when they are all destroyed. And what is left for the Romani when the monsters are gone? I think I would like to have a bookstore then. We Romani are a traveling people. There is never resting, never staying in one place longer than we must. Life is just a stop between new roads, sharpening stakes, comparing scars. Sundown is always coming somewhere. It has been, I think, 15 years without my parents. I measure time by the changing of trucks and cars and caravans. A sickness took my mama, and my papa, I do not know what took him. He left one morning to hunt and he never came back. My papa and my ma are remembered well in the clan, so I keep that memory alive. You see, I am both of them now. Memory is important to the Romani, to know who we are and why we fight, why we are proud. And every winter there are fewer of us. In a good winter, we make sure there are 2 times as few monsters.
This is not ideal for me, you know, standing back and directing others. To be an observer for the Council of Venice can feel like a mother's punishment. If you call what we do a career, mine began young and with the Templars. They have long ties to old countries, not necessarily good ties. In some stories they are the defenders, in others the looters. Either way, where there is a Balaur, there will be a horseman who rides out to face it. Or in my example, a horsewoman. Blades against darkness, whatever the cost. Now I only have to look in the mirror to be reminded of the cost. It was the seal on my diplomatic fate. You can wear a scar with pride, but always questions. Questions. So in Venice, I sit and take afternoon coffee with all the ladies in oversized sunglasses. My thanks go out to high fashion. You do not need to hide your powers from the Harbareshti. These people know the secret world, not ours of rules and regulations, but the one they have lived in every day, where it is no different from day turning to night. They are Dampirs, unattached, raised by wolves or born under strange stars. Everyone. I think if you know they would be persecuted by the modern world. The rest simply have no care for it. Fairies that do not believe in humans. They have no reason to trust us, but we are lucky that now they have no choice. The Council knew there was always danger the town would be discovered, exploited. It was on a list, a long list that gets shorter each year. Nothing was decided. Nothing was done. Let us try to live to regret that. Always some great tragedy that brings me back home. Never to celebrate the spring for a family wedding, to drink with old friends until the morning. I neglect that life now. Romania is a beautiful country, truly under the watch of saints. I suppose you knew it only for vampires, if you knew it at all. Don't feel bad. This visit would not change your opinion, I fear. I sensed it was different on my first night back. In the cities, the youth and the drugs and the vampires are mixing to bad effect. Too many disappearances, and they blame foreigners, mobsters, this morning light religion. Behind it all, the feeling that something slowly is breaking apart and might never be fixed again. It grew stronger the closer I came to Harbareshti. I know the Council cannot act on my feelings, but this valley could be more important than anyone realizes. Is this not what you signed up for? To play a part in a medieval siege, like in old history? The villagers say the walls of Harbareshti, held against the Golden Horde, the Templars, the Soviets. A peaceful resistance. A nice idea. Between you and I, that won't work again. In siege, the attackers starve out the defenders. Is it not true? Here, the attackers are starving. The blood hunger drives them, hard and strong. They will not stop. A single vampire killed 30 people in Cluj-Napoca, where I come from. One night, one vampire. It now sleeps under a churchyard with an iron spike through its skull. We do not have enough soil in the churchyard or iron in the houses to seal all of these away. I've done the math. Look how the ghouls are gathering for the feast, sniffing out the dead and the abandoned. Yet, the walls still hold. Some old saint or miracle smiles down on this village for us to have made it this far. I should like to drink to his health.
Hello. Goodbye. Salut.
The Lady Sophie calls me Cern in jest, but I do not have a name. I am Cernunos and Faunus, the Horned God and the Green Man. I am the Sorcerer, and I am neither of them. I am simply of the forest, and I am the forest. Without the forest and the people in it, of course, I am nothing. So I spend my days here, drowning my sorrows and my memories, while our lands are ravaged by abominations. Where will I go? What will I do if the forest vanishes? Will I vanish with it, or be left to wander the bleak lands in disguise for another 1,000 years? Shamed by my failure to save my people. Then I will choose death, if I can die. And if not, I shall choose exile to another world beyond this one, where none may know my shame. The Lady Sophie came to my forest when she was a child, uninvited. She stepped into places protected by law, and she was in danger. But I came to her and I offered her my protection. Only after did I realize that she did not need it. She belonged there by law, in the forest. I do not think she believes it herself, though I try to tell her that she is different. She's not only human. She has other blood in her. Stranger and older blood, of tribes that have left these earthly forests for other places, far away. Gods themselves of sorts. What you may call fairies, yes, but not the ones you meet today, the ones who are able to blend in with humans. They were taller and fairer, the ones who walked here ages ago. There are few left. Like all of us, eventually they move on. Sophie, she is half this, half that. But she will tell you her mother and father, they're both human. And perhaps, yes, this is so. But still she is what she is. More than one of you. Much, much more. An infection steals my forest away. Things that grow, but not naturally. A cancer on the land. One that moves and spreads ever further. It comes from below. Through water that once gave the forest life, now tainted and corrupt. It is a filth that doesn't wash off. And it infects all things that live. I fled before it because I feared it, and I fear it because I have never before seen it. Soon it might swallow my forest and these lands whole. The vampires, they serve it, but they will drown too. They are stupid and do not see farther than their next mouthful of blood. I have failed in protecting my land and my people. But will it matter? Soon the sun itself will go black, and then nothing can save my land. Or yours. Should you ask me how long I have been here, I cannot answer. Perhaps for all time. Perhaps 1,000 years or 100. But no, longer than that, I think. Because I remember many things. I remember a battle long ago between the three, the owl, the eagle, the dragon, and the mother of demons and her servants. I played a part in that, I think, but not an important one. The forest didn't remain impartial. We took sides, as we sometimes do. To merely exist and observe is to be cowardly, I believe, and more dangerous than taking the wrong side. There's been peace for a long time now. I know that. I am grown weak, or at least weakened. We have allowed our forest to fall into a slumber when we should have stayed awake and alert. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe we would have sensed her return. She is back. I feel her. The mother of demons, the queen of vampires. And she hates us all with a burning passion. She wants us all destroyed. For what reason? That I do not know. The unclean ones, the vampires, werewolves, ghouls, they are dangerous to us, yes, but them we can smell. The others, the human ones, they are harder to see. They have taken this opportunity to hunt us and butcher the children of the forest. They're human, yes, but they do not recognize any law, and they are untouched by any humanity. So how do we reason with them? How do we plead our case? We can only fight back. But few of us are able to or know how to. And every day there are less of us.
What's the matter, sweet?
Another of my limbs ravaged, amputated. They are savage butchers, the vampires, and they have no care for this earth. They only want to see it destroyed. For what purpose? What will be left for them to rule over? Ashes.
It's been like this since the Dark Crusade began. For all of us. But for them in particular. The forest folk feel the intrusion and the destruction like it's part of them being torn off. I don't think they act with any thought, the Strigoi. They don't have a vision for a world after their war. They only want to feed on us until there's nothing left.
Then let them try. They will find no nourishment in my veins, only pain and death. Every part of me is the opposite of them, and I am poison to their kind. The forest is my body. The trees my arms, twigs and branches my fingers. Through them I touch the earth, the air and the water, and I read them as a bat reads the night. The vampires, they're tearing away my senses one by one. But they can still be restored. Regrown, and through them I can see past the scorched earth and bring the battle to our enemy.
He's talking about protecting magic trees.
Your command of language never ceases to amaze me, Lady Sophie.
That's why we're such a good team, sweet.
Salute.
Local bounty detected. Initiating.
I am not me. I deserve this. I deserve it. Thou shalt not be afraid. Must wake up. Must wake up. And bloodless kind. Mercy. Have mercy.
Hello there.